And this is how you will change the world. Now, chiropractic has lost a lot of time because we've got 1 or 2 generations of chiropractors that were, pretty bad guys. They were scientific, evidence-based, okay? And so every other technique, even applied kinesiology, was bullshit. Now, we old-timers now, because we are the old ones, we see this generation of yours being curious, willing to know, talking about philosophy, going to new techniques, willing to learn the old techniques and the gimmicks that we have developed. And it's a joy for us, and it's an honor that to see all those young chiropractors willing to learn and willing to do the right chiropractic, getting rid of the interference and living chiropractic with their heart and with consciousness. That's what I'm here today. That's why I did it last week. That's why I'm here again tonight, because I'm not giving you anything. You are, all of you, giving me a lot tonight. The hope that chiropractic will be still alive 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now, and that you will proceed giving your knowledge and your love for chiropractic to your patients and to your children. That's what counts. I'm not giving you anything. You are giving me tonight.
We love you.
Amazing.
I love you too.
Thank you, Axel.
You're sharing.
Yeah. Brice, we had a question about Emanuele, about matrix energetic.
Yeah.
Can you a bit explain about that?
Yeah. I think recently, in the last 30 years, Ted Motor changed my life because I learned from him that I could talk to the inner being. Viktor Frankl was my master and allowed me to open the door to another dimension and really live in this dimension. And matrix energetic is the thing that I was dreaming of since I was a student. I knew it would exist one day. I didn't know when. And I discovered matrix energetic by not chance. It was meant to be, but anyway. And Richard Bartlett was very close to Viktor Frankl, and Viktor Frankl was Richard's master. He always speaks about Viktor Frankl in his seminars. Matrix energetics is based on quantum physics. It's based on the fact that one electron is corresponding to another one in the field, whatever the distance is. It can be 2 centimeters, but it can be light years. And when one of the element is changing his attitude, the other one instantly is corresponding to the first one. This is how the 2 points technique started. The 2 point technique is go back to the shoulder that we had before. This is the first point. The second point could be a brand new shoulder, and it's going to change. Or you can go down, down, down to the patterns, to the electrons, to the DNA, to the biophotons, and have patterns that are changed so you can realign the patterns. It is, you're receiving information from the field. You need to go down into your heart space. And the information you got doesn't belong to the left brain. Forget. If you receive an information to go to T4, forget it. It's your left brain talking to you. But if you have an information that you have a screwdriver, a pink screwdriver with feathers that needs to screw that vertebra in a certain way, then you know it's coming from the field. It's joyful. Doing matrix energetics is like being 4 years old. When you were 4 years old, you were imagining a field You were imagining friends. You were imagining a theater where you could play. It was real. It was your right brain and your heart space and consciously that allowed you to travel in another dimension. That's all. To explain to you, in one example, I think it was the second or the third class that I took in matrix energetics, there was a lady who was walking with a walker, and that walker at 10 feet. And Richard called her. We were about 300 people attending the seminar. He called her and said, come on stage. And she was with a walker, really striving to walk. And there were 3 steps to go on stage. And she couldn't go up, so they had to carry her. And he said, what can I do for you? And she said, I have MS, multiple sclerosis. And he said, no, you're a mess. By playing on the word, he broke all the patterns in this woman's mind. And all of a sudden, she was on her butt. And her body was shaking, was reacting. The you're a mess was the second point. He accepted the condition of the woman, but you're a mess was the second point. The one was interacting with the first one. So you got different levels in matrix energetics, but it's always the same thing. It's always one point with another. You have to learn what you have learned in order to have access to knowledge, have access to information. Because if you use what you've learned from your left brain, you're in control. So you have to let go. As he says, trust and let go. And that's exactly that. Matrix energetic is the pure representation of consciousness. He's using the word matrix energetics, but he could have called it consciousness technique. It's a technology of transformation through consciousness. You're dealing with the field. Field will give you answers. Then you got different levels. You got the magic level where you can use things that belong to the alchemy, to ancient practice. You can create protocols. You can create virtually remedies. You can create machines. But you have to look at your patient in a different way. Once the patient has given you the diagnosis, forget the diagnosis. Call it, that's the diagnosis, the new one. Why would that? It's very simple. It's called morphic field. Rupert Sheldrake has written a book called Morphic Field. It's a very interesting book. It was based on the morphogenic field. You know, the morphogenic field is human being, animal, plants, okay, and all the subdivisions of every kind. But he said in his researches that things were belonging to a morphic field. And the morphic field is just like a night cloud where you got magnetic information. And you're going to have today in our new society, which wants to be scientific, you will get morphic field for every disease. So what's happening is this. Your patient comes to you. He's been diagnosed with diabetes, multiple sclerosis, tumor, whatever it is. The first thing that he's going to do, he's going to go onto the net to get information. He's going to read all the symptoms, all the possible therapies, and the prognosis. And most of the time, prognosis is negative for those degenerative disease. This is what we called in TBM the buy-in technique, where you take the things as an evidence. It exists. And so you accept it. But accepting it this way and accepting also the prognosis, you get into the morphic field of the disease. So when you have a patient who has this disease, you have to break down the pattern of the disease. This is why I was telling before that you have to think reverse. You do not have to think about a shoulder problem, because you will get into the morphic field of shoulder problems. And shoulder problem, when you get, for instance, a frozen shoulder. Every chiropractor on this earth is afraid of a frozen shoulder. It's a mess, because your guy is not going to move more than 1 centimeter away from his body, that arm. Think reverse. What is it? Oh, patterns that are frozen. Good. And freeze. Or you can go to another point on the body and say, change. And all of a sudden, the shoulder starts to move, because you went away from the morphic field of the frozen shoulder. You don't give a shit about the frozen shoulder and the diagnosis. All you have to look at is the interference. And ask you why. Ask you why. Always ask why. And then you go deeper. Ask yourself, what could I do if the shoulder felt better? Oh, we're not talking about diagnosis. We're talking about the shoulder feels better. What could I do if the shoulder felt different? Bigger question. Because better is the opposite of worse. But different is opening a different potential of possibilities. And at that moment, your heart space is collecting information from the field. And maybe it's already done by the field, because you created a non-ending question, because there's no answer to that question. So you're fooling the logical mind. You're fooling your logical mind, you're fooling your patient's logical mind. And so this is the moment you leave the duality and you enter into the neutrality. And as we say in Matrix Energetic, neutrality is a new reality. You know what a miracle is? Is when there is no human intervention, but just a divine one, the field. Miracle is the only word that has no opposite. No, there's no. And it's by letting go. When you do matrix, or when you do an adjustment, because at the end, I've been, over these years that I practice matrix, it's been 12 years now. Over the years that I practice matrix, I realized that, okay, even an adjustment, even a toggle recoil, it's the same thing. It's the intent that B.J. Palmer was putting into it, in his toggle recoil, and he will let go. You see, the field is like, it's like the water. And you're in front of the water, and you take a pebble, a stone in your hand, and that pebble is your wish. And all you're going to do is you're going to throw your wish down to the field. by throwing the pebble into the water. So what is happening? You may be in control when you throw, but the moment you leave the pebble from your hand, you're not in control anymore. You let go and you trust. And the pebble reaches the water and that's going to do ripples. And what are those ripples doing? They're coming back to you. So you get the answer from the field. So you pebble is your wish, your intent. Then you let go, trust the field, let go, and the field will respond to you.
That is beautiful.
What?
It's so beautiful. I never seen this in this way. It's just like, wow. Thank you.
You know, okay, some of you tonight have been attending the Matrix seminar and we were together and we had a lot of fun doing it, right? Yeah, I know. But to explain Matrix is very difficult. I invite everybody to take one seminar one day to understand how it is. You have to live a seminar in Matrix Energetics and live, even being a patient Matrix Energetic, to understand what it is. Because it's just like Samadhi, Matrix Energetics. There are no words to explain it really. It is something you experience. It is something you live. And I have such a gratitude towards Richard Bartlett because he's a genius. I don't think he's from this world. I don't think so. I always telling him he's an alien, but I believe he is really. He's an ET, not an alien. Alien is a creature created by man to scare for the next ovni to come. But the real ETs, he's a soul from somewhere else. That's for sure. He allowed me to have access to some information and some dimensions I can travel in for the service of people, for giving, for allowing people to feel better, and even my life. I'm in Matrix 24/7. It's just like being in consciousness 24/7. It's just like being in chiropractic philosophy, universal intelligence 24/7. That's all it is. But this guy had the guts and he got the courage to expose his theory, his technology to the world. And he has changed people's life. I know that. And when you do, you can practice Matrix distance. I've been doing it twice today. I've been doing it on the person who got a hip problem. And I got doing it on the patient who was I did it to my wife who was 7,000, no, she was in New York last week and she couldn't move her knee. And her foot was her foot ankle. She couldn't walk. And she called me and she said, can you do something? I said, oh, let's try. And I just went down into my heart space, visualized the thing, went down, boom, 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 boom. And she sent me a message. She said, you just worked on me. It was about an hour later because I had things to do. I was walking by the lake, so I didn't want to stop by then. So I stopped then at the end and I worked. I was on the bank in front of the lake, and I started doing Matrix, heal, and treating her like this. And I finished treating her, and about 5 minutes later, she sent a message that, you know, I could walk down the stairs. My ankle is fine now. And that was it. Because Matrix allows you to believe, because you have the experience, you live the experience in Matrix Energetic. And thank you to Richard Bartlett, because there is no other Matrix Energetic than the one by Richard Bartlett. You got some assholes in the world that are teaching the 2 points technique or pseudo Matrix Energetic. The only real Matrix Energetic is by Richard Bartlett. He is the master of Matrix Energetic. He is the only one who can teach. I've been asked to teach matrix energetic, and I will never do it because I have so much respect for this guy, because he gave us a full potential of capacity to help people. So you have to live the sensation of matrix energetic to believe what it is and to know what it is. So everybody who wants to come to a seminar by Richard Bartlett, welcome. Every one of you who wants to come by Como and follow me for 1 day or two, you will see what it is. And I will have the pleasure to do it on you as well, so you can feel what it is. Did I answer the question about matrix energetics?
I think so, Brice. I think so.
I did it on you, right?
Yes.
and also on the known, right?
It was an experience. It was the first time. It was the best. It was a real experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
There was one. Benji, are you here? Benjamin. I don't know if he's here, but Benjamin was like,
yeah.
But yeah, it was...
amigo. Tell me about your experience, Benjamin.
That was amazing.
Can I see you on the screen?
Yeah, see your face, Benjamin.
Hi. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm still sorry, Benjamin, for what happened to you. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, thank you, because it was an amazing experience, and today I remember that, and for me it's just incredible. I was in another world.
Oh, you were not here, that's for sure.
Yeah. Without thought, without nothing, just me and myself, and
yeah,
it was amazing.
It was the I am that of Nisargadatta. When you read this book, I am that, Nisargadatta, that's why you were that in that state of being when you were under matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Thank you. I think you were the one to explain to the others what matrix energy could be, because I'm doing it to people. I'm living it on myself. I'm working on myself. But for someone who has experience such, I mean, that was quite an experience for you. You're the one to really explain to others exactly what it is and how it works and what you feel, and you did it right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Benjamin, there is Sylvain asking what happened, basically. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it got four joints.
It was in November, I think,
yeah.
At home. We are in the seminar best, and during the break, we are talking with each other, and I was with Maria Agnes. So she asked me to do a big hug with Axel, with Maria Agnes, with Brice. And during the hug, I was feeling something, but I can't explain this. I'm like moving. I don't understand what happened. And everyone is smiling, looking at me. I don't understand nothing, just a lot of emotion. I can't explain.
At this point, you couldn't explain. I was like, Brice, you need to come. Please come to me. And then it starts, and it was like, you were so in peace.
I was feeling something, and after I'm breathing, and I crying. Why I can't explain, but I'm in front of you crying, and why I don't know.
Oh, you released
but I need to cry at this moment.
Yeah, I was good.
So And after creating, I'm feeling so good, so positive, so cool. And I think this weekend, the seminar changed my chiropractic.
Yeah, cool.
And it changed your posture actually a lot. Like you were not the same between the beginning of the seminar and the end. It was crazy.
Yeah,
That's
for
really
sure.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
Guys, if you have questions, that's the moment. Oh yes, we had a question from who? Yeah, from Sophie to Brice. Do you directly explain what you find, emotional, holographic, immunity, electromagnetic, and speak about the field to a patient?
Yeah.
For you the first time and think with symptom and diagnostic?
No, I'm talking my language. The language of diagnosis is the medical language. They already heard it. So they come to us because they haven't got results. So if I'm talking the same language, what can you expect from me? So I'm giving another vision of the thing. I'm broadening his point of view. I'm showing that there's something else than the corridor in which he's living or she's living. If we go back to the shoulder problem, she comes with a shoulder problem or a frozen shoulder or arthritis or whatever it is. She's got the diagnosis. She has the symptoms. She knows better than me because she's living that condition. My thing is not to explain medically or orthopedically what's happening to the shoulder. She knows it, she feels it. And anyway, she doesn't care about exactly what's going on. All she wants is to feel good and to move the shoulder and have a normal life. So all I have to do is use my tools, is use my philosophy, trust my field. And I'm going to do my first visit protocol. And the shoulder said, oh, okay, it's a meridian thing. Okay, oh, it's a meridian, okay. I'm not telling you this is the only thing you have, but this is the first thing we have to get rid of. And then the body will tell us where to work so your shoulder can be in harmony with the rest of your body. Because what's happening is today is your shoulder, your left shoulder, is not in harmony with the rest of your body. This is why it's not working. So let's try to harmonize the whole body. But when I'm talking about the body, I'm talking also of the being. We are dealing with the soul of the patient. We are dealing with the body. We're dealing with the chemistry, with the physiology, with the mind. That's very important. You know, every word we are expressing is resonating. So when you're using a medical language that they already heard, it resonates the same. Can they trust? Can they have faith in what you're going to do? But if you have another language, it doesn't resonate the same way. It is so important. This is why we are so happy to have this protocol of first visit. I don't like the first visit protocol. I mean, as a terminology, because it was created as a protocol of priority system. Then Pete developed the protocol of the first visit because he wanted to give a lot of information to the students. Because honestly, the protocol of the first priority system, I mean, in 1 day, day and a half, you have covered the whole thing. That's it. And you do a lot of practice. The moment we're going to do it, and it's going to be in September, October, it's going to be theory and not a lot of practice. I don't like to teach without practice. Hands-on. People have to use it. The more you do hands-on during a seminar, the more you learn. Because if you sit at your desk and you take notes and you go back to your office and you try to reproduce what you learned, you're missing a lot. But if I am explaining, this is what we do in TBM. We talk for what, 15, 20 minutes about the points, and then we do practice. And then doing practice, you develop a memory, a kinesthetic memory. And that kinesthetic memory goes to your subconscious. You're creating new neurons. And that's the way you recall it. And that's the way you're able on Monday morning to do TBM and have fun doing it. So going back to what I was saying, we are so happy to have this protocol of priority system, because the lady who comes, or man who comes with the shoulder with a diagnosis, why should you talk about the diagnosis? With the priority system, you can tell the patient that you need to work on the magnetic field or the meridians or the chemistry. Oh, your liver is not working. Wow, cool, okay. So you have the PMS and you have the triceps and you have the rhomboid that are related to the liver. So if they're weak, something's going to happen in dynamics of the shoulder, right? So you can go to STO and do the liver pump, or you can go to TBM and work on the liver, or maybe it's a sugar handling problem that you need to work between pancreas and sugar and liver. You understand what I'm saying? It could be a small intestine problem that it starts involving the small intestine meridian that starts from this one here, arriving here, passing here, involving the upper trapezius. That's the way they come to us, because we are getting rid of interferences so the body can heal itself. This is why so many guys get stuck in front of a medical diagnosis. Forget about it. You have a guy who has a disc hernia. Okay, you're going to test muscles related to the nerve root. If you cannot fix those muscles, then maybe it's not a chiropractic case. If everything in what you've done in your priority system, and you cannot, at the end of the session, have those muscles related to the nerve root strong, then you may create a problem to the patient who might need a surgery or lose definitely muscles in the legs. But you have to be very careful. You have to know mainly. It's a very good point. This is something I learned when I was a student. I was following an old chiropractor in Davenport. And one day he said, at the end of the day, he said, "What did you learn today?" I said, "Well, that and that." He said, "No, this is bullshit. The only thing you have to learn today is when not to treat." And that's the most important, is when not to treat. But we have so many tools and so many possibilities to read the body, to communicate with the body, that most of the time we can deal with it. But if you have a nerve impeachment that is so important that necessitated a surgery, send your guy to the surgery, but tell the guy that you can fix his spine once the surgery is done, not to have another episode of disc hernia. Because what is creating a disc hernia? Unless you're lifting up a truck and then you create a disc hernia. But most of the disc hernia are related to the gait, to the imbalance of the gait. So if you cannot fix the disc and the guy needs surgery, no problem. Have the honesty to send the patient to surgery, because you're of service. You have to be of service, remember that. You're not trying to fix the guy because you're a big guy who knows and has results. This person comes to you and you have to be of service. Give something. And to give something sometimes may be, okay, I cannot. This is not of my thing. Please go there. It can be a surgery. It can be, I've seen that, sending a woman because her low back was due to a fibroma and was so important that she needed to have a removal of the fibroma. Or it can be teeth. You're not going to start if the guy is missing teeth and has a malocclusion and has a gait that is fucked up. You're not going to get results. There's a timing also. This is why the first visit protocol and the priority systems allows you to say, okay, I can deal with it, I cannot. You have to go to the dentist first. You have to go to this. You have to go to that, okay? But in the case of a disc surgery, or any surgery, in orthopedics or in neurosurgery, always tell your patient you can help them after. Because what created something is not the disc in itself. It's mechanisms that were wrong, that were not working well enough together. They were not communicating well enough together. This is what you're going to do after the surgery to avoid another episode of a disc hernia or any other problem of that kind. Is it, my answer is good?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had another question from Mathieu.
Yeah.
Go back to Matrix. He asked, and Alexis answered to it a bit, but I would like to hear your point of view. How could you explain why people fall when the 2 points happen?
How people fall. And it's not an obligation. We have different possibilities. Melissa Johnson, who's teaching with Richard Bartlett, said one day, it's just like if your computer has a 500 gig of memory and the new information you bring in goes up to 750, and so the computer is blown up. So it's fallen. But then the computer that you are is creating new memory bank to go up to 750 or 800. But I believe that I'm more like Richard because I lived it on my skin. I think we're losing this gravity for an instant because what's happening is just like passing from this dimension to another one. Boom, boom. Okay? If you look at the, and this is well known in quantum physics, the photons can travel backward and forward in time, but they travel at such a speed backward and forward that the speed forward and the speed backward cancel itself. So it remains now. Time is just a succession of now. 10 minutes from now doesn't exist. Okay? It will be now. So your body is made up only of electrons and biophotons and DNA. So we're in matrix energetic, we are working the field with the field. And so we are. What's happening is, through us, is a change of patterns between the DNA, the photons, the biophotons, and the electrons. And this reorganization, all of a sudden, that is at the speed of light and even faster, create probably a big change in the physical body. I've seen people lying for 20 minutes on their back with a smile. I've seen some people, and I've had that lady in Beirut. She remained 25 minutes like a statue. She was not moving at all. And the field was telling me not to work because the field was at work. It was working and I had no window to work. So I sat and I let the field working 25 minutes. And when she opened the eyes and came back, I don't know if the eyes were closed even, but when she started moving, I said, "You feel okay?" She said, "Gosh, I was traveling in the space and galaxies, seeing colors, hearing sounds, beautiful, and I feel so good now." What happened? Didn't fall. That's not necessary. I've seen people getting huge results without moving one blink. But the things are happening. And some are just, you just start and just go. We had a session, when was that? I think it last Tuesday. We had 6 students from, one from New Zealand who called me gently and he wanted to do a session and they weren't 6. And they were talking about, asking me about TBM and heart space. And there was one of the girls and she was with a colleague of hers or a friend of hers. And she said, "Brice, how do you go from your left brain to your heart space?" And I said, "Okay, we're just 6 people. We can do it individually, and I show you what to do." And so I did it on 3 of them, and then she came on the screen, and I said, "Okay, you have to do that and that and that. Follow me, follow me." And I saw that she was stuck. Something was stuck right there. So I just changed the patterns, and all of a sudden, she went off the screen. And her friend said she's flat on the floor, and she remained for about 2 minutes on the floor. So she sat up again, and I said, "Do you want to keep on?" She said, "Yeah, okay." And there was another thing, and I had to go back in time. I don't remember exactly what. Without telling her, I was doing the things, and all of a sudden she went back again on the floor. She remained there for 5 minutes. Everybody was laughing, and she said, "I guess I understood now." That was fun. Any other question?
Guys, question?
I have one. I would like to know, do you always feel that you need to treat the patient, not just because you spoke about once he had a cancer or something, not speaking about it, like you feel you can do work energetic or whatever, but like he maybe not need or already processing and it's not the right moment, or always you do something on the patient?
Well, if it's not the right moment, the body will tell you it's not the right moment. He can be high thymus already, so you don't need to touch him. Or doing the priority system, you won't find any, but you don't find any, normally there's something wrong. Because if you don't find any, that means that the K27 on the right is positive, and the muscle will weaken. In that case, the person is hypertonic, and that you have to find out why the guy is hypertonic and get rid of the hypertonicity of the body, and then you can have access to that. Sometimes you don't have access to the guy because of you. Okay? This is why I'm teaching in the second phase of TBM how to clean yourself, because it's very important to clean your mind, to clean your thoughts, to clean your emotions, to clean your chakras. Go to the fountain to clean, really to cleanse your body, because sometimes you're blocking for any reason. Your attitude also may block the patient. Especially when you pretend to know and you pretend to be the big boss. People like to be taken care of and understood and loved. They like to be cuddled, okay? And that's the way you have to do that. But some cases, you may, that happens to me. I may be allergic to the patient. I mean, the guy stays on my balls. And I know whatever I do, it's not going to work. So I'm telling that patient, I said, you know, there is no compatibility between you and I. We don't fit. It may happen, but you're entitled to be taken care of in chiropractic. So go to this guy, my friend of mine. He's going to help you. Sometimes it's come from you because you don't fit to the patient. And you need to be honest with yourself, okay? And sometimes it's the guy necessitates a technique that you don't know. Okay, that happens too. I remember I was sending patients to network, for instance, because network could help a lot. You know, it's not the technique in any way, it's your attitude. And you will practice the technique that you feel in your guts, okay? Not for the prestige. But the one you will feel in your guts, the one you match with, will be the one that will allow you to show yourself to your patient the most honest person on earth. Because you will enjoy doing it, you will trust what you're doing, and you will transmit the passion to your patient. And very rarely, you won't be able to treat that guy, even though it's a terminal patient. The only people I'm not treating are the ones that necessitate a real surgery and it's well advanced and they can lose time. Because if not, they can lose a limb or they can lose a function, okay? That's happening. Or the guy has a gallbladder that is full of stone that's close to rupture. I mean, don't play God, okay? But tell those people that you can help them after. And that's the most important thing. Because we're here not to solve a symptom, not to solve a disease or a diagnosis. We're here to restore a physiology, which is very different. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you replied to all the points I was thinking about.
Okay. Any other questions? No more questions?
We love you.
Oh, I love you too. Come on. We've been talking only for 2 hours. That's all.
Thank you.
You want to quit?
I don't know if.
No. If people have questions, I'm here.
Continuez jusqu'à longtemps alors, hein?
Go ahead.
I have a question. Maybe it's a bit apart, but like seeing the importance of teeth and to see also how now the kind of work they do with des appareils, you know, and all that. And I've been interested lately on dentosophia.
Mm-hmm.
Would be the kind of like if you see exactly like before to treat this person, you see you need this kind of help. You need this kind of. What would you recommend? Because
well, if the priority is the jaw, the priority is the alignment of the teeth. If the priority is a missing teeth, if the priority is an emotional thing residing in the teeth, in the tooth, I cannot solve it.
No.
I need to have some help from someone who knows how to do that.
Yeah. Is there like a specific dentist that you would recommend that work in alignment of that are aligned to your vision? For example,
well, if a dentist, if it's a good dentist and he knows his shit, okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You send your patient for malocclusion, he's going to look at it, he's going to solve it. He doesn't need to have followed all the class in applied kinesiology I'm working with a dentist who never took a class in kinesiology, and he's fixing all my cases in his brain. So I don't trust much, you know, oh, you got a malocclusion, I'm going to give you a bite.
Exactly.
I'm giving a bite about once a year, and mainly on those people who got traumatic happening to the jaw, like a whiplash injury that was important, like a blow to the face, something like this. Then they might have, because the ligaments are really distended. But most of the time, it's very rare that it's purely descending.
Yeah.
Always have components, descending components. The feet, the eyes, emotions, the meridians that are the small intestine is creating a mess here. The stomach meridian creating a stomach, it's blocking the masseter and the vaccinator. Here it's blocking the pterygoexternal. You know, before you send to a dentist, you have to be sure that this is the only thing to do. Because sending to a dentist means also cost. Means also money for the patient. And we have to be careful as well not to have patients spend too much money for their cure. So, you know, we have different techniques to work on the muscles, okay? Like Ferreri technique on the TMJ is excellent, okay? NOT is an excellent technique on that. Applied kinesiology, working on the muscles, and good sense. I created a protocol when the malocclusion is myogenic by nature. So I'd rather start with this, rather work on everything that is ascending, and then if I still see that my patient is in balance in his gait, is not coordinated when is in occlusion, and is coordinated when I'm opening, even though I have checked everything, then of course, okay. But very often, those people will have dental work that were not done properly.
Yeah,
okay?
you see a lot.
People will have, you will see people are lacking teeth. In that case, they need to. Or
implants that are done with like actually toxic material, that like what you're talking about.
Well, the toxic materials are not appearing on the occlusion. On the it's not really evident, and plus the new materials they're using today, the residual of bacteria that is in the culprit is very, very, very little. We can refer to 20 years ago, 30 years ago with implants. Yes, the bacteria residual was important. Okay. Yeah. Today, I'm working when I'm in Beirut. My office is with a friend of mine who's a dentist and a specialist in implantology. And he explained that to me, and he shows me on all the x-rays that he does and on the exam that he does. And we tested people with their implants about clenching and see if they were creating a problem in the gingiva or creating a problem on the gate, or if clenching was weakening some chemical problem in the body or toxic problem. Not. You can go very simply if your patient in occlusion is creating a weakness, and if you go to this point right here, okay, right there, it's the number 7 right here. It's the toxic on the TS line in STO. You can check that, okay. Or you can go to the chemistry and you go the SP21 on the left and K27 on the right. And you test those muscles and you will see if it's creating a change in that aspect. But to be honest, I refer to a dentist much less than I refer to a optometrist. Because 90% of the glasses that are made, and especially the multifocal lenses, 90% of the time they're not correct, and this is creating a problem in the gate, and this is impeding your work to have success, to be successful. Yeah. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. It was more the professional, because I've been curious about dentosophia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an approach that is really aligned to the chiropractic view. They really observe the personality of the person and how they close, and they would use activators. So like gums that you would use during the night or during the day, and all the teeth that are like maybe misaligned, they have their own personality, or they maybe show certain archetypes that you've been embracing. So talking about matrix and also
it originally this was a work by a French dentist called Kubi. Kubi was a French dentist. He wrote a book, impossible to find it. And then there's a lady in Switzerland, I think she's in Geneva or Lausanne, and she's practicing as well in France, working on the teeth and the emotions that are related to the teeth. And it's quite amazing as a work, but you know, it's even there, okay? You may have an ascending problem, which is another emotion that is related to something else, because never forget that the teeth are related also to the organs and to the vertebrae. So you go to the wisdom tooth, and it's going to be it's going to be the psoas. It's going to be the psoas muscle, and it's going to be the kidneys. Okay. Depending on that, you can deal with this and the TS line and the vertebrae and find out the organ that is involved. Okay, but if you deal with the organ, then the tooth might be cleared. So even there, you have an ascending and descending a problem. We saw in I got different cases of young guys, and they have a low back pain due to a wisdom tooth inferior that is in the wrong position, but not developed enough to be removed. But it's already positive to the test, and it's creating a chronic weakness of the psoas muscle. So he has one psoas muscle on left that is weak and one psoas muscle on right that is strong. So you can imagine that the strong is going to pull the spine towards the side. So what we do in matrix energetics, we get rid of the connection between the psoas muscle that is weak due to the wisdom tooth, and we get rid of that connection, and the psoas muscle turns back to be strong until we can set the timer so the psoas remains strong until the wisdom tooth is removed when it's mature enough. I mean, the possibility in matrix energetics is infinite. The limitation of matrix energetics is the way you look at things. That's all.
We had an interesting question of Alexis Robic.
Yeah.
And it's like, in quantum physics, we know that when we create an observation, we create a reality, but also an opposite in another dimension. How are you sure when you work in matrix, you don't have the side effect with a patient to modifying his karma or something like this?
Honestly, I don't know. I cannot answer that question. I know that we can start from the fact that we are working with para-universes. And you can say, like, we take, again, the shoulder problem, we can send that shoulder problem to a dimension where there's a version of you. But the fact that is, this person in the other dimension and you in this dimension, and when you send that disease or that condition to that other dimension, they cancel each other. So no one will get sick.
Okay.
Then the karma is something different. That I don't know. But it's an effect of reciprocity, a cause and effect. I don't think quantum physics is into much of cause and effect because of the infinite possibility of happenings. It will be the good and the bad. But matrix energetics is a construct in itself. It's a construct of consciousness that was brought to Richard by, he says, masters, guides, entities. But it was built only to help and for the good. You cannot harm anybody with it. It is only designed for the well-being and for the good. Salut Alexis.
I don't know what he's doing.
And one thing, because, okay, I know this is Alexis who was asking the question, so I'm going to say that. Alexis, keep it simple. No, this is the key to everything. Okay, we were talking with Axel before we opened the screen. We've been talking for an hour and a half, 2 hours about different things, different technique and everything. There's one thing, and this is all what all the masters were saying: keep it simple. Do not complicate things. If we look at what Jean-Pierre and Pete and I have been doing for the last 30 years, we've been working with the basic all the time, every patient, the basic, the categories when it was mechanical. And this is the way to solve problem. Then comes up a patient that is a bit more complicated. So you're going to go deeper and deeper. But if you stay to the basic and you know your basic well, and with your intent and your passion and your love, the results will happen. You will see your patient feel better, and he will be happy, and you will be happy for your patient. Do not complicate. Do not resonate. Because in your question, I understand, Alexis, but there's a lot of left brain, of analysis. Trust the field. Another question?
Guys, if you have question,
Or you're angry? I'm not.
For maybe a last question, because there is I guess we are all students here, like basically student of life and stuff. What will be the best advice you would give to us to just like live a life with a complete simple life and full of wonder and happiness?
Sorry, I tried to tell you for 2 hours.
Yeah, easy question to end, actually.
What?
Easy question just to end, you know, like.
No, it's what is it? It's okay. Happiness is it's difficult to define because it depends of your vision of happiness and the way you live and you move in life. So I don't think it is the most important. I think the most important is to live with passion and to dare doing the things you feel inside of you, especially in your office. Out of the office, in the family, it's always more difficult because some other criteria are in between. But in your office, you're guiding. Doctor means to guide, okay? So you're guiding towards wellness, not pain-free, but wellness. And enjoying yourself doing it, daring, proposing yourself the way you feel inside will bring you, is creating a field in your office where people will feel good, where they trust you, where they will trust what you're doing. So at the end of the day, you won't be tired, you will be just happy. And you will be connected. I hope you will be connected, or I hope you will have the sense of connection 24/7, because this is what we're born with, and this is what we are looking at, and what we're looking for the whole life. We are trying to walk that path towards truth, towards beauty, which was originally there, which was partially destroyed by the left brain and evil mind, because it exists. But it's a personal reflection. I think those 2 months that we spent without working, or working very little, allowed us to understand a lot of things, and study, read, meditate, look at things of your life, decide of a few things that you have to do, who you want to be, what you want to do, but most of all, who you want to be. The most important thing in life is to be who you want to be. And do not judge anybody. Observe and learn from the observation, but do not judge. You always have to learn from your observations. They're good, they're not good, but you learn something. You learn what you want, you learn what you don't want, and go ahead. But if you refer to your life as a professional, I mean, the only thing is be humble, live with passion, transmit your passion and your enthusiasm to your patients and to the people around you. Enjoy every moment of your practice. Never think to know. Never think that you're good, because you can always be better. And you will always find someone better than you, who has more knowledge, and that's how life is. So do not pretend. Be of service and love what you're doing, and love yourself. Big time. Love yourself.
Thank you, Brice.
You're very, very welcome. Thanks to all of you. Are we finished?
I guess so.
Okay, no more question? I want to thank you all for your kindness of being here tonight and listening to me. And it's a honor to talk to you. And I'm proud that young students and young chiropractors are so willing to do well and keep on doing the beautiful work that we're doing. Thank you all. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Brice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Merci.
Thank you.
Merci.
Thank
Et
you so
nous,
much.
tu as tes-
Merci, ça a été
je
génial.
te donne numéro. Merci beaucoup. Merci Axel. C'est grandiose d'avoir organisé ça. Merci.
Ah, c'est Axel qu'il faut remercier. C'est lui qui a fait tout le travail.
Ouais, j'ai n'importe quoi.
Tu as répondu, mais c'était extraordinaire. C'était magique, magique.
Ouais. Merci à tout le monde.
Merci à tout le monde.
Merci,
Blabla.
merci Axel.
Merci à tous les deux. Ciao.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bisous.
Bisous.
Bonne soirée.
À toi aussi.
Je
À tout
t'aime.
le monde. On t'aime. Ciao.
Et tu manges quoi, Brice, ce soir?
Je crois que je vais manger un peu de salade verte avec du thon. Voilà. Pourquoi?
Ah, c'était ma question du jour, voilà, c'est tout.
Parfait.
Bah, tu l'as, tu vois.
Voilà, c'était parfait, écoute. Hein.
Ok, ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, à bientôt. On se verra sûrement au séminaire de Andrew Bourne.
Ouais, ça, on va se voir avant. Attends, t'inquiète pas.
Ouais, t'inquiète.
Où ça?
Séminaire sur
Marianne
SEO.
jalouse?
Non, pas du tout, pas du tout. C'est où ce séminaire? Vous faites quoi?
Bah, c'est dimanche. Enfin, on n'a pas encore d'infos, donc on ne sait pas. Mais normalement, il fait un séminaire sur tous les
Sur
outils de
SEO.
SEO.
Ouais, c'est pas mal, c'est intéressant, c'est génial.
C'est un
Bon,
peu
les
de la
gars,
brasse coulée quand même, hein, mais
hein?
c'est un
Quoi?
peu de la brasse coulée quand même. C'est compliqué à tout comprendre, mais
Non,
il
écoute.
y a 80% qui sont digérables, quoi.
Ouais, exactement, voilà. Et ben, c'est peut-être ce dont tu as besoin seulement.
Ouais, il y a moyen. C'est pour ça je
Bah
suis,
ouais,
je prends ce qu'on me donne, quoi.
moi aussi, j'y vais, j'écoute et j'apprends. Voilà, je suis content comme ça. Salut tout le monde.
Salut!
Bon
Bisous.
app.
Bisous! Love you, ma bière.
Moi, je t'aime aussi, ma chérie.
Du coup, on n'avait pas une nouvelle de Marie-Agnès. Content de voir qu'elle va bien.
Ouais,
Eh non,
avec ta
non,
petite tête, là, tu nous as manqué, hein?
non, mais
Ouais,
j'ai
parce
quelque
que
chose.
bon,
C'est elle. Je...
un message sur WhatsApp là qui attend
Attends,
ta
ça
réponse
coupe?
depuis un moment là.
Ça
Hein?
coupe,
Non,
on t'entend pas, Marie-Agnès.
non, mais là, Axel, tu peux même pas imaginer, genre, ça fait. Ouais, bah, genre, depuis le début que je suis dans le mal. Et je fais tous les webinaires, à chaque fois, il y a quelque chose. Mais là, il m'a vraiment réveillée. Merci, quoi. Juste merci. Genre, là, vous me voyez comme ça, mais je suis jamais comme ça sur les autres séminaires, hein. C'est un truc de fou. Merci, Axel.
Content
C'est
de te
Ouais.
voir comme ça.
Je suis vraiment désolé tout le monde, j'ai pas réussi à créer enfin dès le début à avoir un petit dynamisme pour bien lancer le truc. Je suis un peu
Non, c'est top. Nico vient de créer le dynamisme, là.
Ouais, excusez les gars, c'était cadeau. C'était cadeau, voilà. Toujours, toujours du bon bruit, vous
C'était
connaissez,
vraiment
hein.
cool de faire ça. En tout cas, c'était vraiment. Merci,
Puis,
Axel.
c'est génial, ouais.
C'est bien d'avoir eu l'idée aussi.
Là, restez, je vais vous tenir au courant, mais j'aimerais bien, si vous êtes tous chauds, j'ai en ligne de mire Marsman ou Jean-Paul Pianta.
En ligne de mire.
Ça pourrait
JP, je pense qu'il sera plus facile à convaincre. Après, Pianta,
Bah, JP, il a
il
déjà.
connaît pas des masses.
Vraiment, il est
Mais,
malade. Je sais pas si je pourrais vraiment l'avoir, mais
mais
Écoute,
Jean-Pierre, en tout cas,
qui
il
ne
a fait
tente
3
rien n'a
webinaires
rien.
pendant le
Il a déjà
pendant le
fait
confinement, donc je pense pas qu'il soit contre.
ok.
Après, Jean-Pierre, il a fait aussi un peu de la technique et tout. Donc, je sais pas, ça peut être une autre dynamique, tu vois. Tu lui demandes juste de parler de lui et de sa vie, quoi.
Je demande direct à Jean-Pierre ou je demande à sa fille d'abord?
Non, tu demandes à Jean-Pierre, tu le contactes sur
Passer
Facebook.
par Jean-Pierre, hein.
Ok.
Puis en plus, Nathalie.
Nathalie, elle va plus gérer l'organisation papier, quoi. Mais
Ouais, c'est sur place. Ça fait trop plaisir de tous vous voir.
Mais tellement.
bah ouais,
Ça fait
content
plaisir
de
de te voir
retrouver
aussi,
la
hein.
team.
Merci. Ah, c'est trop cool. Franchement, c'est trop cool. Et en plus, c'est ouf parce que genre, j'ai